Another not so great start to the week. Let's take a look and see what happened. All right, guys, welcome back to the daily recap for August 15th, 2022, another Monday. And you'll see here on the calendar, Mondays are not good for me. 3 red Mondays in a row. Let's go ahead and take a look. Well, right here, not down one loser, 2 break-evens. Not even down a full R, but still. Should have made money today, and I didn't. And so let's take a look at the trades, right? 1 loser. Let's take a look at the first loser. I took this one live with you guys. Got in the trade at 11:15, out at 11:32, stopped out at 11:32, in it for 17 minutes. I put here poorly executed trade, needed to be more patient and wait for the 5-minute confirmation. So very quickly I started the week out with a loss, and that could have been avoided. Better execution and patience are a must. A descending triangle formed, and I was quick to jump in on the 2-minute candle. Most certainly I should have waited for the 5-minute candle close, and this trade could have been avoided entirely. And so down 1R to start on the first trade, minus $297.50. And if we go ahead and take a look at the trade, I took it live with you guys. We opened up here and shot up, tested the overnight, or broke the overnight high and Friday's high, but was quickly rejected off. Created a pivot here on the pullback, retested it, and then when it broke to the downside here and that 2-minute candle closed, I had a limit order right here that I took. And what I failed to realize at the time was that the 5-minute did not close. I don't even have that chart up, but the 5-minute did not close below that line. And that was really the confirmation that I needed to get into this trade. I don't necessarily even understand why I was so aggressive, because there wasn't any crazy volatility or reason that I would have thought that this trade was going to leave without me. So should have been able to be more patient. I should have realized that I needed to wait for the 5-minute at that point, and would have avoided that loss. When looking at the internals here as well, this is the advanced decline, and it didn't break that pivot either here on the advanced decline. So it did on the 2-minute chart, but it didn't here on the advanced decline. It didn't close below on the 5-minute. I got in here, it tested it, and then broke up and stopped me out, most certainly. Now, the tick chart maybe looked a little bit better for me, created a low here, but that was the low that closed below and got me into the trade on this pullback here. You could say that these were trending down, lower high again. But again, very quickly price pulled back and stopped me out. The dollar I did have in my favor. The dollar since about 9:30 had been going up, and if the dollar is going up, I look to be short, and I was, except that when I got in the trade, the dollar pulled back. Tested some highs over here and pulled back, which the markets reacted favorably by going long when there was this pullback. So I wouldn't say that I didn't have the dollar in my favor. It was, I guess, in supply and pulled back on me, which was certainly not in my favor. Now, what was most certainly not in my favor at all during this trade was the VIX. The VIX was going down all morning while we were live, and I was in this trade. Got in here, and it continued to go down. For the markets to go down, I want to see the VIX going up, and the VIX was most certainly going down, not in my favor. And then if we take a look here, these are the 4 major indexes: the ES, which I was in, the NQ, the YM, and the Russell. And the red dash line, again, is where I got in. And the ES holding above the 21 EMA, the NQ holding above the 21 EMA, the Dow holding above the 21 EMA. The only one that wasn't holding above was the NQ here the Russell here on this candle, holding below, but the other 3 markets all holding above, not in my favor to be short. And so execution, patience, things that I need to work on, things that if I would have done better, would have been better at in this trade, I wouldn't have even taken the trade and saved myself 1R there. And because I lost 1R and it was the first trade, I spent the rest of the day, trying to make it back and then some. And so this was my second trade. I was late to the trade. Price finally broke out. I was on my walk when price finally broke out. I rushed back, but missed my ideal entry by 1.5 points. Not terrible, but still didn't get in at what I would have liked to have been my entry. Still not a terrible entry, but because I left my stop where would have been originally, my target ended up being a little bit further, and so I got nervous with my profit potential. And so this was the trade here. This was the breakout between 9:30 and 10 in the morning that then we pulled back. I got in short and got stopped out. Went for a walk, and then price finally broke the high right here. And my entry would have ideally been just breaking above this pullback at 42.88, and I got in at 42.89.50, and so about a 1.5 late. I, regardless, was going to risk this entire candle. That green candle there, that was my high volume candle getting into this trade with the breakout candle above. And so I left my stop where it was, and therefore my 2-to-1 target was a little bit further than I ideally would have liked. And so then I had to make some adjustments. And so if you see here the adjustments, my original target of 43.04 was a little bit further than I would have liked. So I took 2 contracts at 10 points, left half my trade on, because I took 8 full contracts, left half my trade on at my original target, and then another 2 contracts beyond. There was some room potentially with the ATR for it to go further, as well as with the NQ, so that's why I put the other 2 targets. The reason I was nervous about where my original target was is this is the triple top high from April and May, which is right where my original target was at 43.04. And so I wanted to scale out a little bit before that, just in case this higher time frame level up here, just price wanted to shoot down from it. So ended up having to mismanage my trade, I guess you could say, because let's show you what happened. So it hit T1 right here, and then it pulled back. And when it pulled back and it started to go up again, I said, let me get back in this trade with my full position size, right? I already scaled some out. I already took a pullback, so I added the 2 contracts back on. The issue with that is that now my average price was here at 42.92. Instead of my average price being down here where I originally got in, moved up to 42.92, and you can see that price tested, I added on, and then quickly reversed. And when it reversed back to the break even, I moved my stop up very quickly, and I got out break even. So I made $100 on the trade overall, but then got stopped out break even, and then as you can see, it went up from there. And so I had to end up getting back into the trade on another trade. I'll show you that momentarily. But I wanted to show you guys, right, the internals at the time. Price shot up. I got in a little bit later than ideally I would have liked. Probably ideally in this candle. Had a little bit more room to run. My profit potential would have been better, and I likely would not have scaled out and then scaled back in and done all the nonsense that I ended up doing. Come on. And you will see, right, when I got out of the trade and closed it, it broke this pivot and it broke this pivot, now solidly below the 21 EMA, and so part of the reason I closed it, made an extreme low here, and then came and tested that extreme low again, so again, everything was coming down, and so that's why the dollar continued to go up. So the dollar wasn't helping, and so that's why I got out of the trade. And And so this is where price finally broke out from. That's the wrong. Let's see. All right, let's go to the last trade. So again, made $100, but I was already down 1R, $300, and so not necessarily great execution. Really, I should have let this trade just completely play out. I could have tightened up my stop a little bit, still only been risking the $300 because of the new average price, and let the trade work out. But closed it early, and then you'll see my third trade where I essentially got back into the long. So this is the third trade. I wrote here, I think it was maybe a little harsh on myself, a FOMO trade, trying to make up for poor execution on the last trade. After closing my last trade, break even on the pullback, I got back into it basically after it had already recovered 1R, basically trying to just make the 1R that I lost back. And so not just a FOMO trade, but also trying to force a win to make back my first loss. The risk to reward just wasn't there to take this trade, knowing that I had a whole lot of resistance above, including the 200 SMA, right? The triple top, just a lot of resistance up there. And so really I need to work on being more patient and conscious in what I'm doing. I need to trade my plan and not the P&L, right? And so I didn't lose any money on this trade. It was a break. It was literally a $0 break-even trade, but it was only a 1R planned. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So I ended up closing my last trade here, and then it tested this low again here and then started to break up. And when this 5-minute candle closed, I got in right above it. But again, I didn't want a very far target, knowing that right up here at the at the high of this zone, of the red zone, there was really that triple top from back in April, May. And so my original was a 1-to-1 stop here at 42.90 half. Original target 43.04 half. I moved it up to try and make a full 1R of 297.50 that I had lost in the first trade. So again, trading the P&L, it's kind of why I was harsh on myself. Now, this is finally about 3:55 or 3:50 in the afternoon when it spiked up, touched this target. Not even necessarily sure if it would have filled me or not, but at least touched the target. So it would have gone the 1-to-1. Never got there. Pulled back. Closed it break even. This was right at just before 4 o'clock. And I had to close it after it spiked up and closed red like that. I basically closed it there, break even. I gave it a moment to see if it would pop back up, but hung out there for too long, just closed it. And so closed it break even. And this wasn't a bad trade. But I like to take 2-to-1s. This was only a 1-to-1. I should have still been in it, right? I got out down here, got back in up here, so lost out on, I got out at 97, or I got back in at 97.50, and I got out here at 42.92. So gave up 5.5 points of potential profit because just my execution was not good today. Fortunately, I'm only down 0.7 of an R, not even a full R. So again, something I can recover from, not anything that I need to go crazy about. I can have a 2R winner, a 3R winner tomorrow and make it back. I was hoping that was going to be my afternoon trade, but closing early, not accepting the risk, not allowing the trade to work out is really what cost me, because my original long, my target was 43.04, not even 43.0450. So would have hit target for 2R, and I would have made back my R and been up an R today instead of down money. I would have been up about $300. And so these were the charts at the time of the trade. think that screenshot is wrong. I think all of these screenshots are wrong. So anyway, this was my trade. And you'll see I was up. I didn't really take much heat in this trade. Went up, pulled back, took a little bit of heat right there, but then popped up, and just wasn't able to get to target with very good reason. I mean, again, the triple top. And so should have had more confidence in my first trade, or my first long trade anyway. And in avoiding my first trade, waiting for a 5-minute candle close, I could have been up 2R. And so that's what I'm going to work on. That's what I'm going to continue to work on. I thank you guys for joining me. Trading Futures Live, right? We show you our winners. We show you our losers. We try and be as transparent as possible. We go through our journal with you guys. So hopefully some of this information was helpful to you guys. We don't win every day. We're real traders. We try and take our losses in stride, try and follow our rules, try and hold ourselves accountable, and try and make sure that we can live to trade another day, right? The key is to not lose 3 or 4 or 5R in a day, that now it's going to take you 2, 3, 4, 5 days to make up a terrible 5R day. Not to mention your psychology after a 5R day is going to be terrible moving forward. So it's going to be even harder to recover from that, right? I'm down less than an R. I can come back tomorrow and trade and be clear of mind, really kind of wipe today off and start on a clean slate, not have to worry about losing a ton of money and how I'm going to make it back. So again, thank you guys for joining us. Catch you tomorrow, 9 a.m. pre-market analysis, 9:25 we go live. Deuces.